Okay.
Yeah, rolling?
Yep.
For sure, the little red light is on. I'm just kidding.
I don't have red light. It's not that fancy.
That was the first question, right?
And are those leather boots?
They're leather boots. They are. You know.
Cameron, can we get a scan of the leather pants here, please? Well, since you
I've
don't...
never had leather pants before. I thought it was, it would be nice to.
How do they feel?
They feel good. They're good.
Do they make you feel like a rock star?
I don't know. They maybe a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah, they point it in the right direction.
So because what you're bringing me is sexy rock star realness right now. So I thought I'd start off the interview.
I'll go with that.
It's
worse things.
When I met you, it was the unkept hair, the t-shirts, and the flip-flops.
Yeah, that's true.
You've come a long way.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you. So next question. Tell us about your musical journey, because you have many talents in this lifetime. It's a little unfair. But how did your life take this turn from, like, professional ski racing, it was where it looked like it was heading for a while, to musician?
Well, that's a good question. And I think until I was about 20 years old, I wasn't ever thinking about music as, like, a career per se. I mean, I always was very interested, and I knew I would make recordings, I think, at some point. But, yeah, I was definitely on the track of, I guess, ski racing. Sort of naive, though, at that age. You think you're going to, be a ski racer, which is doesn't happen to that many people. But, yeah, it just shifted around 21, 22 years old when I was playing for fun, and then I was getting gigs. I was getting paid for it, and I realized it was actually something I was really more passionate about. And it's also such an amazing creative outlet, because whatever it is you're experiencing in life, you can reflect through your music as well as your lyrics. Obviously, as a songwriter, it's the marriage of the lyrics and the music, which has really, really been something I've been grateful for through all the kind of ebbs and flows and ups and downs of life.
So speaking of the marriage of the music and the lyrics, which is a brilliant segue, way to set me up there. What is your writing process like?
Yeah. Well, it pretty much until about a year ago, it was 100% of the time it started with a piano chords, piano riff, and that would sort of suggest a mood. So either, it would be kind of melancholy, right? Or it suggests a mood, and then the lyrics, usually next what will come is the melody, the vocal melody, and then the lyrics come in a way that obviously makes sense, the way that the music is speaking, whether it's a happy song or it's a sad song or it's nostalgic or, it's a rocker or whatever. And then the goal is to try to channel the lyrics that were meant for that song, right? And I still do it that way sometimes, but some of the more recent songs have actually started just as lyrical ideas, even without melodies. And it was never that way, because I was always a musician first. And I'll admit, my first few songs, it was definitely a struggle to get the lyrics to come. And honestly, some of the first few lyrics, as the songs I wrote, the lyrics are terrible. I mean, I don't even want to play them anymore. And some of them I've even rewritten because I don't like them at all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they were necessarily placeholders, but sort of. Like, I couldn't quite figure out what it was I was saying or who I was as a person, and that's always your songs if you're really getting into it. They are a reflection of where you are in life, and as you know very well, like, my early to mid-20s was definitely very conflicted in a lot of ways, and so I think there were a lot of songs that I wrote. Some of them still stand up in beautiful ways, but a lot of them, they were like a little half-baked, especially lyrically. Oh. So that was kind of a tangent, though.
No, I actually found it really interesting because I feel like what is your writing process like? I have previously judged it, because I'm so righteous, and thought it was such a throwaway, commonly asked question, and I actually found that answer to be very interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely not the same for everybody, and it's what I've found to be interesting personally is that it has evolved a little bit. Okay. And it used to just be one way, and I thought, that's always how I'm going to write. And I've seen all the interviews with Billy Joel and all of my heroes, and that's generally the way he writes, which starts with a melody, and then he formulates the lyrics around that. But his lyrics are so good, you would never know. You would never think, oh, that's just a shitty song. He's not a lyricist, right? His lyrics are great. But the idea to come up with the lyrics first, and then recently I've also had some situations where I'll actually be writing and lyrics, melody, and chords. Even my last batch of songs came really in real time. That's never happened before. And that was really cool, but it really is about finding that mental state and also channeling whatever it is that you're going through. And you know, obviously this last year, as you know, but has been one of major transition from basically every angle of my life. And you know, there's been a lot of sadness and transition there, but there's also a lot of energy to harness. And if you can harness it, you know, you can at least come up with something that maybe you're proud of that other people might relate to. And that's always what I've been hoping to do. And certainly that I can relate to myself, because then it's cathartic, right?
Yeah, we call that mulching in my world, the world that I come from. We call that mulching, where you're digging all that up and creating fertile soil to then grow something beautiful and new. So so
similar, really. It's extremely similar, yeah.
So tell us, what do you want us to know about this huge transition your personal life has just gone through?
Well, I mean, I think for most of us, when we go through these major pivotal points in our lives, we're the center of our own universe, so it feels just unbelievably trying. But I mean, I went through the end of a 7-year relationship, which I'm really more calling a transition, because it's really been a beautiful, I mean, it's been excruciating, but it's been a beautiful transition. We're really going to try to maintain what we did have, say goodbye to what we didn't have anymore, and but there's been nothing nasty said, and we're really trying to just handle it differently, because there's still so much love. And I think a lot of that's coming out in my new songs too, because it's, again, everybody's gone through breakups, but most of what's coming, these songs are not, you know, fuck you songs or anything like that, because it's just not how I feel. They're holy shit, there's no playbook for this, I still love you, and we don't really know what the fuck we're doing, but we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna be okay.
Breaking up while you're still in love is one of the most unique but beautiful experience a human can go through, and there is no narrative for it. So if you're out there writing a narrative for other people, I mean, that's a game changer, to give someone a script of, it's okay to break up while you're still in love. You don't have to burn the whole thing to the ground.
No shit. You don't have to fabricate something either, because a lot of people, I think, get themselves in situations where they don't necessarily know how to handle it, because the script, the cultural script, is just not like that. It's like, okay, there's an end. There must be somebody who transgressed. There must be something wrong. And sometimes it's just life paths go in different directions, and you still, I mean, I'm learning a lot. I have a lot to learn, and we're just figuring it out as we go. But yeah, it's a little different. And so there's that. And then I've been in a band for many years, and that is a situation where I'm still extremely close with all the members of the band, and there's no bad blood at all. It's literally just time for something new. It's just, we just need to do something else. So that's what we're doing, and we're all great friends, and we're still going to collaborate on things. And actually, this session tonight, 2 of those members of that band are performing, so we're still doing things together. And it's just a little change.
What a beautiful way to make a change in your life. And it definitely means to me that you're listening to something inside of you, that you didn't need your world to come crashing down. I call it, you saw the exit sign and you got off the highway at your exit, rather than holding on a little too long. And then going past, and then you're lost, and the metaphor continues. So you mentioned Billy Joel as one of your musical heroes. Who are your other musical heroes, and also maybe just life heroes in general?
Well, I mean, some of the ones you would imagine, certainly from listening to my writing, but Elton John is right there too. I mean, the Billy Joel, Elton John, these are like the ultimate piano guys. Some of the songs I'm going to do with the recordings tonight, covers of those artists, and Ben Folds is one of my absolute heroes. I got to do a songwriting retreat with him about a year ago, which was amazing just to meet him. I was definitely completely starstruck in ways where I've definitely met people that are more conventionally famous, but when you care so much about the person, it doesn't even matter. It's just like, holy shit. Gotten into Genesis. Genesis has become quite an influence of mine because of Daryl Sturmer, as a lead guitarist in Genesis and Phil Collins' band, who I've had the pleasure of working with. But I didn't necessarily grow up on Genesis. I did like everyone did, because they just were on the radio like crazy. But that was a little different than Ben Folds, for example, which I just lost, years to just albums on repeat. Supertramp, the Beatles. I mean, we could be here for a long time, but
I'm fine with that.
Just, I mean, what I would say, just really good songwriting, but of course that's subjective, of course. But
and what about life heroes? Like, who's inspiring you in general?
Well, that's that's a great question. The first person that comes to mind is somebody by the name of Sam Harris, who maybe we've talked about it at some point, but he's a philosopher and neuroscientist, and he's actually got an app called Waking Up. He's got a book called Waking Up, but he's got an app called Waking Up, which is a mindfulness meditation-based app. And man, he has just rocked my world in so many ways. If you check out his podcast, it's called Making Sense. He's talking to everybody from, other scientists to politicians to, people in the medical field, meditation, spirituality, and I couldn't. He's amazing. He's amazing. I would be starstruck if I met him too. But yeah, see other people. That's definitely one that comes to mind. I've been very interested in nutrition and just the connection between mind and body, and really trying to dial that in. Because there's another thing, just years ago, I think with a lot of kids, but just you grow up as a kid and as a teenager, and you don't really think about that stuff
especially
much.
in the Midwest.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's really been interesting, because if you get your vessel kind of in order, your brain and your mind and your body to work together, you get a lot of synergy. And there's so many things that are involved with that, meditation being one of them. I've been getting into that a lot. But it also just shows up in anything you do. I mean, the more sort of, I don't want to necessarily say the well-ordered you have that stuff, because it's not so much that. It shouldn't be a rigidity you're after, but there's certain things you can do, like, hey, get outside, see the sunlight. These things help. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to feel better if that's happening. Are you sleeping well? Well, then you're going to write better songs, or you're going to, whatever it is you do, you're going to just feel better about the world. So